Have you ever closed your eyes and felt so vividly that what you imagined was already woven into the fabric of your reality? I remember one quiet evening, seated in the soft glow of my study lamp, surrendering entirely to a scene I longed to see manifested. In that moment, the air around me seemed charged, as if the universe itself leaned in to witness my conviction. I wasn't merely daydreaming. I was laying the first brick in the foundation of what was to come. When you feel the reality of your desire, you ignite a creative fire within your inner world. This feeling isn't a fleeting flutter of hope. It is a deep, resonant knowing that bridges the gap between thought and experience. To cultivate this, begin by selecting one clear, heartfelt desire. Perhaps it is a career opportunity, a restored relationship, or a moment of joy you wish to inhabit. Sit quietly, breathe slowly, and let every detail of that desired moment unfold in your mind's eye. Notice the colors, the textures, the ambient sounds. Perhaps you hear laughter, the rustle of leaves, or the gentle hum of a new beginning. Allow these sensory details to rise, as if you are watching a favorite film that you yourself are directing. As the mental picture sharpens, shift your attention inward to the emotion that accompanies its fulfillment. Do you feel pride, relief, love, exhilaration? Sink into that emotion fully. Feel it in your chest, pulse through your veins, and echo in the subtle corners of your mind. This is not an act of pretense, but a deliberate declaration. You are choosing to live within the feeling of success now, rather than waiting for external proof. When we immerse ourselves in feeling first, we set into motion the very energies that shape our circumstances. It can help to anchor this practice with a simple ritual. Each morning, before the day's demands begin, take a moment to revisit your chosen scene. You might clutch a small object, a smooth stone, a meaningful photograph, or a token that symbolizes your desire. Hold it gently as you close your eyes. Breathe and feel. Let the object serve as a bridge connecting your current reality to the world you are birthing within. Over time, this ritual becomes a powerful cue, seamlessly transporting you into a state of creative expectancy. A common obstacle arises when we allow doubt to creep in. The mind, trained by past disappointments, may whisper, "This can't be real yet," or "You're just kidding yourself." In those moments, gently acknowledge the thought, then return to the sensation of fulfillment. Imagine the thought as a passing cloud. Observe it, let it drift away, and refocus on the warmth of knowing that your desire is already complete. This practice trains your mind to favor conviction over skepticism, sculpting a mental landscape where belief thrives. Another tool in this process is the power of inner dialogue. Speak to yourself in the present tense as though you were describing a cherished memory. Say, "I am so grateful for this new opportunity," or "I feel the joy of this reunion deep within me." These simple affirmations, delivered with genuine feeling, weave threads of reality through the tapestry of your subconscious. Over time, your mind ceases to differentiate between imagined and experience, treating both as equally valid input. It's essential to carry this feeling into your daily actions. You might find yourself moved to speak with more confidence, to take small steps you had previously shied away from, or to notice doors that seem to open with surprising ease. These are the ripples on the surface of a pond, the outward signs of a powerful current flowing beneath. When opportunities appear, greet them with the same feeling you carried in your meditation. Let your inner state guide your choices, and you'll discover that the world responds in kind. Be mindful, too, of the role patience plays here. The creative spark you ignite does not always produce an instant flame. Sometimes it simmers quietly, aligning circumstances in unseen ways until the perfect moment arrives. Resist the urge to judge progress by external markers alone. Instead, measure your success by the consistency of your feeling. If you maintain that inner residence day after day, you are steadily building the reality you seek, even if no tangible proof has yet manifested. In moments when your feeling practice stalls, return to gratitude. Recall a previous dream that materialized unexpectedly, a time when you sensed something before it arrived. Use that memory as evidence that the same creative principle operates now. Gratitude amplifies the feeling of fulfillment, reinforcing the belief that the universe conspires to support your heartfelt intentions. Finally, remember that feeling is your birthright. It is the language through which your desires converse with the universal intelligence. When you honor this process, By selecting a clear desire, immersing yourself in its completion, anchoring the emotion with ritual, overcoming doubt, engaging in present tense dialogue, integrating the feeling into action, and practicing patience and gratitude, you awaken a latent power within. This power, once kindled, becomes the silent architect of your life's unfolding chapters. So tonight, find a quiet corner, close your eyes, and feel as if your wish already dances in your arms. Let that sensation carry you through sleep and into the dawn of new possibilities. In feeling first, you do more than imagine. You lay the cornerstone of a reality waiting to be claimed. Picture yourself rising each morning with the quiet assurance that your deepest desire is already fulfilled. Your posture straightens, your voice carries a subtle confidence, and every step feels guided by an unseen hand. I remember waking one dawn, my heart buoyant with that very certainty. I dressed not as someone chasing a dream, but as one who had already arrived. Living in the end state begins with a simple yet profound shift. You stop regarding your goal as some distant event and start inhabiting it as your present reality. This is not wishful thinking or mere optimism. It is a deliberate choice to align every thought, every word, and every action with the feeling of completion. When you speak, you do not say, "I hope to have this," but rather, "I am so grateful that this is now mine." This tiny change in tense carries immense power, for words are the vehicles through which inner convictions are broadcast to the world. To practice this, select one clear outcome you wish to see, perhaps a promotion, a thriving partnership, or a measure of health and vitality. Instead of framing your inner dialogue around lack or longing, rephrase every sentence as though the desire already exists. If you catch yourself saying, "When I get that job," immediately correct it to, "Having that position brings me such joy." These present tense affirmations stir your subconscious, which cannot distinguish between memory and imagination when both are rendered with vivid feeling. Action naturally follows this mindset. You begin to notice opportunities you once overlooked, networking events that now seem vital, articles that speak directly to your needs, or conversations that open doors. You don't force these moments, you simply recognize them. Acting in the end might mean preparing a wardrobe appropriate for the success you anticipate, practicing the language of leadership in your daily speech, or making small decisions as if you already hold the authority you seek. Each choice is the brick laid in the manifest structure of your future. Consider how this principle plays out in everyday interactions. Suppose you aim to become a respected speaker. You speak to friends and colleagues with the assurance of someone who commands attention. You listen as the speaker would, crafting your responses with clarity and purpose. Over time, your social circle begins to value your insights and invite you to share them more formally. The exact path may vary, but the underlying current, your lived conviction, remains constant. Doubt will inevitably surface. Perhaps you catch a glimpse of your reflection and wonder if you truly fit this envisioned role. At such moments, gently remind yourself of the feeling you cultivated each morning. Close your eyes for a breath. Recall the imagery of success so vivid it tingles in your fingertips, and allow that sensation to wash over your hesitation. Doubt may knock, but it need not be invited in. Your inner state is the doorkeeper. Another powerful tool is the mirror exercise. Stand before a mirror and address your reflection as you would an honored guest. Speak in the present tense, "I am proud of what I have achieved," or "This abundance enriches every corner of my life." Feel the warmth in your chest as you deliver these lines. Over time, your subconscious adjusts, internalizing your words until they feel as factual as your own name. The mirror becomes more than glass. It becomes a portal to your lived reality. Equally important is the company you keep. Surround yourself, whether physically or digitally, with reminders of your end state. It might be a vision board displaying triumphant images, a playlist of songs that mirror your mood of success, or conversations with mentors who treat you as already accomplished. These influences reinforce your inner narrative, scaffolding the mindset that you maintain throughout your day. Patience, too, is integral. Living in the end does not guarantee instantaneous proof. Sometimes the outer world arranges itself gracefully, and sometimes it feels slow. Regardless of timing, remain anchored in your inner conviction. Each day you uphold that state, you strengthen the imprint on your subconscious mind. Like water wearing away stone, persistence shapes reality over time. Notice how living in the end illuminates the path forward. Instead of floundering in a fog of uncertainty, you operate from clarity. Decisions become easier because they are guided by the question, what would the fulfilled version of me do now? Would that person network more boldly, delegate tasks with confidence, or invest in self-care without guilt? Acting from that perspective simplifies choices and propels you toward your goal. Finally, celebrate the small victories as though they are the culmination you seek. Did you speak up in a meeting with poise? Did you smile at a stranger with genuine warmth? Did you choose a nourishing meal over old habits? These are the footprints of your end state made manifest. Each acknowledgement fuels the inner flame, reinforcing the seamless connection between feeling and form. As you integrate these practices, daily life becomes a seamless rehearsal for your desired reality. You awake, speak, and move through your world as one who has already achieved. This is not arrogance. It is the humble recognition that your inner life precedes your outer world. By living in the end, you become a magnet, drawing circumstances into harmony with your deepest convictions. So begin today. Speak your future into being, dress its part, act its role, and celebrate every step as evidence of the reality you carry within. In doing so, you transform not only your circumstances, but the very architecture of your consciousness, until the world around you reflects the triumph you have already embraced. Have you ever noticed how the moment you steadfastly believe something to be true, without a shred of hesitation, the world seems to rearrange itself to confirm your certainty? I remember standing on a bustling street corner, clutching a simple affirmation in my mind, that the business I dreamed of was already thriving. Cars sped past, strangers chatted in doorways, but inside me, there was a stillness, a quiet assurance that nothing could shake the reality I had assumed. Assumption is the silent architect of our lived experience. It is neither loud nor demanding. Rather, it works subtly, like the roots of a great tree, drawing nourishment from unseen depths. When you adopt an assumption, truly accepted as fact, you plant that root deep within your subconscious. From there, it sends out impulses aligning your thoughts, your words, and your actions with the reality you have chosen. This is not wishful thinking. On the contrary, it is a disciplined practice that requires you to become the unwavering observer of your inner dialogue, gently steering it back to the chosen assumption whenever it wanders. To cultivate assumption, begin by selecting one desire you hold close to your heart. Perhaps it is financial freedom, a fulfilling relationship, or radiant health. State your chosen end in a simple, present tense affirmation. I am already enjoying the freedom I deserve, or my relationships overflow with warmth and understanding, or my body radiates vibrant health. Speak these words as though you are reporting a fact, not offering a timid request. Feel their weight in your chest, hear their clarity in your mind's ear. This act of naming transforms a vague wish into a concrete reality, and your subconscious mind, ever obedient, sets itself to work behind the scenes. Resisting doubt is integral. Doubt is like a persistent shadow that creeps in when you least expect it, whispering that your dreams are too grand, your goals too lofty. But every time a doubtful thought arises, treat it as a passing messenger rather than a resident guest. You might pause, acknowledge its presence. Here is doubt again, and then deliberately return to your assumption. Recall the exact phrasing of your affirmation. Re-evoke the feeling of completeness and let that sensation wash away the shadow. Over time, this back and forth becomes less of a struggle and more of a graceful dance. Doubt approaches, and assumption greets it with unwavering poise, gently guiding it aside. Actions then follow the lead of assumption. When you act from a place of certainty, your behavior shifts in subtle yet profound ways. Your posture straightens, your voice gains conviction, and doors you never noticed before swing open. For instance, if you assume you are an accomplished speaker, you might find yourself volunteering to address small groups, offering insights with calm assurance, and receiving encouragement you once thought reserved for others. These outward ripples are the evidence of your inner assumption manifesting in tangible form. An instructive practice is to weave assumption into your daily routine. Each morning before rising from bed, take a moment to lie still and repeat your affirmations silently, as though it were the opening line of your day. Feel its resonance in your limbs as though electricity hums through your veins. Let this sense of fulfilled reality accompany you as you step into the shower, dress, and move through breakfast. By the time you're fully immersed in your day, assumption has already laid its groundwork, and your actions naturally align with the reality you hold. The environment you inhabit can either bolster or undermine your assumptions. Curate surroundings that affirm your chosen state. A photograph that captures the joy you seek, a motivational phrase on your desk, or simple objects that symbolize achievement. These visual cues serve as constant reminders, reinforcing the assumption each time your eyes land upon them. Similarly, choose companions and conversations that mirror your belief. Share your assumed reality with trusted friends or a mentor who treats your words with the gravity they deserve. Their acknowledgement strengthens the conviction coursing through you. Patience is often the unsung hero in this process. You might find yourself wondering why your outer world lags behind your inner certainty. Yet just as a seed takes time to sprout and push through soil, your assumption needs its own gestation period. Resist the temptation to measure success solely by immediate external signs. Instead, gauge your progress by the steadiness of your inner state. Are you able to revisit your affirmation with genuine feeling day after day, even when circumstances seem contrary? If so, you are succeeding, for the subconscious mind has no timetable. It simply registers the impression you persistently offer. Overcoming adversity through assumption offers a profound lesson. Suppose a setback occurs, a late payment, a misunderstanding, or a health concern. Rather than allowing the event to shake your assumption, view it as a temporary fact of the external world that does not alter your inner conviction. Acknowledge the reality of the moment. Yes, this challenge exists. And then reaffirm your chosen state. But I remain certain of my abundant flow. This dual acknowledgement of both outer circumstances and inner truth imbues you with a resilience that transcends fleeting difficulties. You become like a lighthouse, unwavering amid stormy seas. As you deepen this discipline, notice how your mind gradually stops distinguishing between imagination and reality. The repetition of your affirmation, coupled with the genuine feeling you pour into it, reshapes the neural pathways in your brain. The imagined state takes root until it feels as familiar as your own reflection in a mirror. From this place of familiarity, your subconscious mind orchestrates events, dialogues, and chance encounters that coalesce around the assumption you have made. It is essential to celebrate each moment when assumption prevails. Perhaps you notice a shift in your language. Fewer, if only, statements, and more, "I am so grateful." Maybe you see unexpected kindness from others or discover resources aligning with your needs. These subtle triumphs are milestones on your journey, confirming that the current you have summoned through assumption is actively rewriting your story. In time, you come to realize that assumption is not a trick or a game. It is the fundamental principle by which consciousness shapes reality. When you habitually inhabit the end state, you become the living embodiment of your desire, and the world reflects that truth without hesitation. Let the silent authority of assumption guide you as a faithful companion, and watch as resistance dissolves, leaving only the clear pathway between your heart's longing and the world you are determined to create. Have you ever drifted into sleep with a scene so alive in your mind that you could almost taste its sweetness upon waking? I once sat by the moonlit window of my childhood home, replaying a moment I yearned to experience. As I surrendered to that inner cinema, I felt a gentle stirring, as though the night itself listened to my silent rehearsal and nodded in approval. That night marked the beginning of understanding that our imagination, when tenderly coaxed each evening, becomes the fertile soil from which future realities sprout. Each night, before the world's clamor fades completely, carve out a sacred interval for your mental rehearsal. Find a quiet nook, perhaps the edge of your bed or a favorite armchair, where the soft glow of lamp or candle eases you into stillness. Close your eyes and let memory willingly yield to invention. Imagine the very moment your desire finds completion, the embrace of a new partner, the applause at the end of a triumphant presentation, the satisfying click of a bank transfer confirming abundance. Let that image paint itself in high definition, paying attention to the subtlest sparkles of light or the gentle sway of movement. Sensing the scene is only the beginning. Feeling it is where the magic truly happens. Invite every sense to join the rehearsal. Smell the aroma of fresh coffee in the boardroom where you seal your promotion, or feel the warmth of handshakes that welcome you home. Hear the soft melody of conversation that underscores a reunion, or the rhythmic rustle of pages as you sign a dream contract. Taste the crisp tang of excitement on your tongue, as though the universe has already served the banquet you've long prepared. The more thoroughly you engage each sense, the more convincingly your subconscious accepts the moment as already lived. Repetition is the warp and weft that weaves your nightly rehearsals into the tapestry of your unconscious mind. Commit to this practice as you would to any cherished ritual, perhaps alongside a cup of herbal tea or the soothing patter of rain against the window. Over nights and weeks, the scene grows more familiar, less like a novel fantasy and more like a sweet memory that you return to with joy. This familiarity dissolves any resistance your mind might harbor. What was once imagination becomes to your inner self as real as last year's holiday or yesterday's dinner. Obstacles will arise, fatigue, distraction, or the relentless pull of doubt. When weariness dampens your resolve, remind yourself that the shortest rehearsal is still more potent than no rehearsal at all. Even a brief immersion can leave an imprint on your subconscious, like a single brushstroke on a blank canvas. When irrelevant thoughts intrude, bills to pay, errands to run, greet them kindly, then gently guide your attention back to the scene. Picture those thoughts as leaves floating on a stream. Acknowledge them, then watch them drift away while you return to your imagined harbor. As you persist, notice how your rehearsals begin to ripple into your waking hours. On the commute, you might recall a particularly vivid detail and smile to yourself as though revisiting a scene from a favorite film. These moments of recollection reinforce the neural pathways you're forging in sleep. Your subconscious, ever dutiful, takes these nightly directions and begins to shape your perceptions. You start spotting signs of alignment, a colleague's unexpected compliment, a serendipitous article that addresses your needs, or a doorway of opportunity you might once have overlooked. To deepen the imprint, record a brief script of your scene in the present tense and speak it aloud before you close your eyes. Use language that evokes emotion. I am so grateful for the warmth of that new partnership, or I celebrate the sound of applause ringing in my ears. Hearing your own voice recount the fulfillment of your desire is like providing your subconscious a personalized soundtrack. It marries the vibrancy of feeling with the clarity of words, creating a richer rehearsal that resonates long after the last syllable fades. Over time, your nightly rehearsals become a sacred dialogue between your conscious intention and your deeper mind. You'll find that without forced effort, your decisions during the day echo the scene you so lovingly replayed at dusk. You feel guided to make choices that honor your imagined reality. Taking that phone call, drafting that proposal, or extending that heartfelt invitation. These seemingly small, intuitive actions are the universe's way of responding to your rehearsals with tangible progress, a dance between inner conviction and outer manifestation. Embrace this practice with the patience of one tending a garden. Seeds don't sprout overnight. Yet each drop of water, each gentle pruning, contributes to the budding bloom. In the same way, every night's rehearsal, no matter how simple or brief, nourishes the seed of your desire. Continue this ritual with the reverent care you afford your most cherished dreams, and you will come to know that the boundary between imagination and reality is as delicate as the breath that carries your intention into being. Have you ever caught yourself replaying a past moment with regret, wishing you could rewrite the ending? I remember an afternoon spent by the riverbank, my heart heavy with an encounter that left me feeling small and defeated. As the sun dipped low, I closed my eyes and envisioned the scene anew, this time with confidence, compassion, and a triumphant finale. In that imagined revision, I felt a subtle shift, as though the river itself acknowledged the transformation. That moment revealed the profound power of revisiting our memories and reshaping them with the pen of imagination. Every memory carries an emotional imprint, like an echo lodged in the corridors of our mind. When a recollection stirs pain or doubt, it can unconsciously reinforce patterns of hesitation or fear. Revision is the art of returning to those pivotal scenes and retelling them with a victorious outcome, recasting yourself as the architect of resolution rather than a passive witness. By doing so, you don't deny the past, you simply transcend its limitations, allowing your inner world to realign with the future you intend to inhabit. To begin, select one memory that still tugs at your heartstrings, a misunderstanding, a missed opportunity, or a moment of awkwardness. Sit quietly and allow the original event to surface in vivid detail, the setting, the faces, the tone of voice. Then, without judgment, let the scene unfold differently. Perhaps you speak your truth with calm authority where you once stayed silent, or you extend kindness instead of withdrawing. Feel the emotional tone of this new version, the relief, the courage, the healing warmth. Sense it in your chest as if it were happening now. This practice need not require lengthy sessions. Even a few focused minutes can leave a lasting impression. As you engage, let go of any tendency to rationalize or critique. Revision is not about intellectualizing. It is about feeling. The subconscious mind responds most to emotional reality, so prioritize the sensation of resolution over the technical accuracy of details. If the original memory blurs, that's okay. What matters is the new feeling you infuse into the recollection. A useful approach is to frame the revised memory as a short internal movie. Imagine a title card that announces, "My perfect outcome." Then let the scene play out like a film montage, complete with triumphant musical undertones. Perhaps you visualize yourself standing taller, speaking with clarity, and witnessing the other person's warmth in response. Notice how your posture straightens and your breath deepens as the positive scenario unfolds. These bodily responses are the subconscious taking cues that the new narrative is your chosen reality. We often resist revising memories because it feels like altering the past, or worse, pretending something painful never happened. Yet revision does not erase the original event. It simply offers your mind a superior alternative. By mentally rehearsing the preferred outcome, you are effectively planting a seed of possibility that grows into the soil of your consciousness. Over time, this new memory coexists with the old one, but it wields the greater influence, guiding your emotions and choices toward empowerment. Incorporate this practice into moments when you sense lingering discomfort. Perhaps you feel a pang of anxiety before a meeting because you once stumbled over words. Instead of letting that memory replay, pause for a breath and quickly envision the successful dialogue you wish had occurred. Imagine your voice steady, your ideas received with enthusiasm. Let that feeling flood your mind for a heartbeat. Even this brief act of revision interrupts a cycle of fear and reminds your subconscious that you are the author of your experiences. The ripple effects of revision extend into your daily life. You'll discover that situations once laden with trepidation now feel familiar and manageable. That meeting becomes an opportunity to express yourself because you've already rehearsed the confident version of you in your private theater. A difficult conversation with a friend becomes tinged with empathy rather than tension because you walked through the scenario in your imagination, greeting it with compassion. Empathy plays a key role here. Sometimes the scenes we revise involve others, friends, colleagues, family members. As you rewrite the narrative, include gestures of understanding or forgiveness that might not have been present originally. In your mind, see their faces soften, hear their words evolve. This not only heals your emotional landscape, but can also influence real-world interactions as you approach relationships with renewed kindness and openness. Resistance may arise. Voices that say you're lying to yourself or this won't change anything. When these doubts surface, acknowledge them gently, then return to the rehearsal. Think of doubt as a raindrop on a window pane. It obscures the view briefly, but does not alter the scene you're painting on the glass. With repetition, doubt loses its power, and your revised memory takes root as the dominant narrative. Celebrate each moment of revision as an act of self-creation. The mind thrives on demonstration, so let the feeling of resolution linger. You might follow a revision session with a quiet expression of gratitude. Thank you for teaching me, and thank you for the chance to heal. Gratitude amplifies the emotional imprint, reinforcing the new memory's presence in your inner world. All weeks and months, the compound effect of revision transforms more than isolated memories. It redefines your relationship with your own life story. You become attuned to the fact that every moment, past or present, can serve your growth. Challenges shift from burdens to stepping stones because you've literally rewritten them as such. The conscious act of revision teaches your subconscious that you are not a hapless bystander, but a deliberate creator. In this way, revision is more than a technique. It is a philosophy of inner sovereignty. It tells your mind that the past need not chain you, that every memory holds the potential for empowerment, and that the pen of imagination can redraw the very lines of your experience. By practicing revision with genuine feeling and compassionate intention, you cultivate a mind that sees possibility where others see limitation, and you awaken to the freedom inherent in knowing that your inner narrative always leads the way. Have you ever noticed how a kind word whispered to yourself in a quiet moment can ripple through your day and transform the way people respond to you? I remember sitting alone on a park bench before dawn, murmuring to myself about the success that I knew was already unfolding. As the sun's first rays kissed the treetops, I felt a subtle shift within, a gentle confidence that colored every subsequent interaction with warmth and possibility. Every conversation you hold within your mind is a seed planted in the fertile ground of your subconscious. when you speak to yourself with genuine enthusiasm, as you would to a cherished friend celebrating good news. You infuse your inner world with the energy of expectation. Imagine describing your accomplishments in vivid detail. I'm so proud of how I handled that challenge today. Or, it feels amazing to see my ideas embraced. These affirmations, delivered with sincere feeling, act like invitations to the universe, quietly arranging circumstances that echo your internal dialogue. Begin by noticing the tone you use in self-talk. Many of us default to criticism or doubt. I'm not ready, or I'll probably mess up. But this harsh counsel only tightens the grip of insecurity. Instead, practice adopting a compassionate voice. Picture a dear friend sharing their triumphs and speak to yourself in the same way, warm, encouraging, and anchored in belief. Feel the difference between a scolding remark and a celebratory one. Your body relaxes, your heart lifts, and your mind opens to new possibilities. A powerful method is to keep a brief daily journal of inner conversations. Each evening, jot down a few lines as if you were reporting to yourself at the end of a rewarding day. You might write, I'm thrilled at how naturally I spoke up in the meeting. Or, I'm grateful for the kindness I extended and how it was so beautifully received. By rewriting your internal dialogue on paper, you give it tangible form and reinforce the emotional imprint. Over time, this creates a feedback loop. Your written words reshape your inner tone, and that transformed tone begins to shape your outer world. Another approach is the mirror exercise. Stand before a mirror each morning and hold a brief, heartfelt dialogue with your reflection. Say aloud, I love how resourceful I am, or it delights me to watch my dreams take shape. The sound of your own voice, coupled with eye contact, forges a deep connection between conscious intention and subconscious acceptance. Notice how your posture shifts, your shoulders relax, your chin lifts, and carry that alignment into your day. The mirror becomes more than glass. It becomes a portal that synchronizes your inner and outer selves. It helps to personalize your inner conversations with sensory details. Rather than generic praise, anchor your words in specific moments. I felt a surge of confidence when I presented my proposal, and the room responded with genuine interest. Describe how your voice sounded, how your hands moved, even how you sensed the room's energy. These details amplify the emotional resonance, making the conversation more compelling to your subconscious mind. As it absorbs these vibrant scenes, your behavior and decisions begin to mirror the confidence you've rehearsed. You'll discover that others start matching your newfound tone. A colleague might smile more readily, a client might lean in to listen, or a stranger might offer assistance where you once met only closed doors. These responses aren't mere coincidences. They are the world's reflection of your inner dialogue. When you speak to yourself as if success is already yours, you carry a magnetic presence that invites collaboration, respect, and kindness. Challenges will arise, moments when old voices of doubt pipe up. What if they don't agree? Or maybe I'm fooling myself. Acknowledge these thoughts gently, then pivot back to the uplifting dialogue you prefer. You might say, I understand your concern, but I choose to focus on how capable I am. Or, I hear the fear, but right now I'm celebrating progress. This compassionate redirection doesn't deny the existence of doubt. It simply refuses to let doubt dominate the conversation. Gratitude is the crowning flourish of your inner speeches. After expressing your confidence, add a brief thank you to yourself. Thank you for trusting in my abilities. Or I appreciate how boldly I stepped forward today. Gratitude cements the emotional tone and signals to your subconscious that you genuinely value the experience. It also cultivates an attitude of abundance, replacing any lingering scarcity mindset with one of heartfelt appreciation. Over weeks of consistent practice, your inner conversations become second nature. You'll catch yourself thinking in supportive, empowering phrases without effort. This habitual shift rewires your mental patterns so that self-encouragement arises more readily than self-criticism. With each positive message you deliver internally, you reinforce a foundation of self-trust, and the outer world obliges by presenting situations that align with that trust. In the end, your inner conversations are the quiet orchestra behind every visible performance. When you conduct this orchestra with care, choosing compassionate words, rich details, and tones of celebration, you create a symphony that resonates outward. The people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, and the successes you manifest will all bear the harmonious signature of your inner dialogue. Begin today. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you deeply admire, and watch how life itself responds in kind. Have you ever built a grand vision in your mind only to feel yourself clutching at the details, as if the very how-to steps were the keys to its realization? I recall pacing my study late one night, sketches and notes strewn across the desk, my thoughts tangled in logistics. In that restless moment, I paused and asked myself, what if my only job were to hold the vision and not to engineer each outcome? As I released my grip on the method, a calm certainty flowed in, as if the universe smiled and whispered, I know the way. Releasing control of the how may feel counterintuitive at first. Our minds are wired to seek solutions, to map every step, to plan every contingency. Yet when you obsess over the mechanics, you often trap your creative energy in micro-migration. Imagine instead that your desire is a message you send into vast, unseen networks of intelligence. Your task is to shape that message with clarity and feeling. No need for blueprints or manuals. Trust that the currents of possibility will carry it to the shores of manifestation. To practice this release, begin by choosing one clear desire. Visualize it in your mind's eye with as much richness as you can muster, anchoring it in emotion rather than process. Feel the joy of its fulfillment, the warmth of having arrived, and the subtle shift in your posture as you embody its reality. Then, consciously let go of how it might happen. Picture your vision floating upward like a lantern into the night sky. You do not watch it down below, straining to catch every flicker. You breathe deeply and know that unseen hands guide its journey. You may notice an urge to check back in, but what about the timeline? What about the resources? Recognize this as the mind's habitual fear of uncertainty. Treat these questions with kindness. Jot them down on paper and set them aside. Tell yourself, I trust that what I need will come to me at the right moment. This simple act of acknowledgement frees your attention for the higher order task of conscious imagining. Over time, you'll discover that opportunities often emerge in surprising forms. Contacts, ideas, events that you could never have plotted on a timeline. A helpful illustration comes from gardening. You plant a seed, gently cover it with earth and water it. You do not excavate daily to see how the sprout is doing. You trust in the natural process. Likewise, when you plant the seed of your desire, guard it with feeling, and then allow it to germinate in the hidden soil of your subconscious. Resist the temptation to dig around, and you'll save your energy for more fruitful pursuits. Adding emotion, refining your mental image, and cultivating gratitude for the unfolding process. In practice, you might set aside a brief window each morning for your letting go exercise. Close your eyes, breathe into your belly, and mentally replay the scene of your fulfilled desire. Feel its reality. Then see the details dissolve, leaving only the essence of the scene, an open invitation for the universe to choreograph the particulars. You can even imagine handing over a symbolic envelope to a wise messenger, entrusting them with your request. As you open your eyes, carry with you the conviction that the invisible gears of synchronicity are already in motion. When real-life tasks arise, emails to send, phone calls to make, approach them with the same spirit of trust. Instead of telling yourself, I must do this so my vision can come true, reframe it. I'm taking inspired action, knowing it's part of a larger orchestration. This subtle shift in language detaches your motivation from fear and binds it to curiosity. You remain active and engaged, yet you no longer bear the burden of outcome engineering. Action becomes a joyful dance rather than a frantic race. Inevitably, doubts will infiltrate. Perhaps a lead doesn't respond, or the roadblocks seem persistent. Here, renewal of trust is your remedy. Pause, close your eyes, and revisit the feeling of your vision complete. Let that sensation bathe you in confidence. Say to yourself, even though the path is hidden, the destination is secure. These moments of reaffirmation realign your energy with possibility, sending ripples of expectation into the field of potential. Collaboration with others flourishes in the space of detachment. When you relinquish the need to control every variable, you open yourself to alliances you never imagined. Colleagues offer insights born of their own expertise. Chance encounters spark new ideas, and doors you never saw swing open. People sense your relaxed confidence and are drawn to contribute. You become a living testament to trust, inspiring cooperation rather than competition. Gratitude accelerates the process. As soon as a small sign appears, a helpful suggestion, a serendipitous article, a random compliment, celebrate it wholeheartedly. Thank the unseen forces at play for guiding your desire closer to manifestation. This act of appreciation is like pouring light onto the path, illuminating the next step without you having to map it yourself. The more you focus on the signs of progress, the more you'll notice them, creating a feedback loop of expectancy and fulfillment. Remember that detachment is not abdication. You remain alert to opportunities and responsive to prompts from your inner guidance. The difference lies in motive. Actions flow from inspiration rather than anxiety. You ask what feels right instead of demanding what must I do next. This subtle yet profound change transforms tasks into intuitive choices, each step harmonizing with the grand design you've set in motion. Over days, weeks, and months, this practice of releasing the how becomes second nature. You carry your vision lightly yet firmly, like a lantern glowing in your hands. The specifics, the who, where, when, and how, are choreographed by a wisdom beyond your conscious mind. As you witness the unfolding of your desire through unexpected pathways, you grow in confidence. You realize that you need not know every detail to claim the outcome. So tonight, before you drift into sleep, take a few moments to hold your vision with full feeling. Then let it go into the hands of universal intelligence. Trust that it will find its way. In doing so, you free your spirit to soar on wings of imagination, and you invite the world to demonstrate that indeed the universe responds most beautifully when you focus on the what and the why and leave the how to its silent orchestration. Have you ever noticed how the single raindrop, falling again and again, can carve a canyon through solid rock over time? I remember standing at the edge of a winding gorge, marveling at how nature's quiet persistence reshaped the landscape. In that moment, I understood that repetition, not force, was the true agent of transformation. The same principle holds for the workings of your mind. Each imaginal act, performed day in and day out, lays another stone on the pathway to your realized desire. Begin by recognizing that your subconscious is like fertile soil, receptive to the seeds you plant through imagination. One vivid scene may spark hope, but it takes repeated watering, the daily return to that scene, to coax the seedling of possibility into robust growth. Each evening, as your head meets the pillow, replay your vision with all the sensory richness you can muster. Feel the warmth of success. Hear the applause of recognition. Sense the texture of the life you wish to inhabit. On over, this rehearsal deepens the impression until your subconscious no longer distinguishes it from lived experience. Consistency becomes your greatest ally. Just as you brush your teeth without questioning its value, you are invited to make your imaginal practice a non-negotiable habit. Choose a fixed time, perhaps first thing in the morning or just before sleep, and guard it as a sacred appointment with your own creative power. Treat interruptions lightly. If life intrudes with demands, pause, reset your mind, and return to the rehearsal as soon as you can. The conscious decision to resume, even after brief distraction, signals to your deeper mind that your intent is unwavering. Obstacles inevitably arise. Fatigue, forgetfulness, or the lure of skepticism can tempt you to skip a session. When this happens, view it not as failure, but as feedback. Notice what pulled you away, perhaps an overfull schedule or an inner voice of doubt, and gently address it. You might shorten the session to a minute of focused feeling or anchor it to an existing habit, like revisiting your scene while brushing your hair. The key is not perfection, but persistence. Each return to practice, no matter how brief, rebuilds the momentum you need. Over time, you'll observe subtle shifts in your waking life. You'll recognize opportunities that align with your imaginal blueprint, an email from an unexpected quarter, a chance conversation that points the way forward, or a breakthrough idea in the quiet of a morning walk. These moments are the subconscious mind's response to your persistent influence, orchestrating events that mirror the inner landscape you've cultivated. Celebrate them, however small, as proof that your repeated efforts are bearing fruit. To deepen your commitment, track your practice. A simple mark on a calendar for each completed session turns repetition into a visible record of your dedication. As the marks accumulate, they become trophies of consistency, each one affirming your resolve. On days when doubt creeps in, glance at the trail of trophies and remember that steady small steps lead to grand outcomes. This tangible feedback fuels further persistence, strengthening the habit loop that binds imagination to manifestation. Persistence also builds resilience. When challenges surface, perhaps a day when the scene feels lackluster or when external circumstances seem stalled, you learn to persevere without relying on immediate gratification. The act of returning to practice in spite of discouragement trains your mind to trust the process rather than demand instant results. Gradually, you cultivate an inner calm, knowing that the power of your imagination operates continuously, even when the outer world appears unchanged. Peer into the stories of innovators, artists, and pioneers, and you will see that persistence is the common thread. They didn't create their masterpieces in a single burst. They returned again and again to their vision, refining, rehearsing, and believing. You mirror that same creative pattern when you persist in your imaginal acts. Each rehearsal is both a step forward and a declaration of faith that you believe in the unseen. Finally, persistence becomes a source of joy rather than drudgery. As you watch your calendar marks multiply, take a moment each time to smile inwardly, acknowledging the living promise you have nourished. Let the rhythmic cycle of rehearsal become a meditative dance, a personal ritual that connects you with the grand current of creation. In that joyful repetition, you tap into the infinite wellspring of possibility, and the canyon you carve within your own consciousness opens a channel through which your deepest yearnings flow into reality. And so, as you carry these practices into each moment, feeling the reality of your desire, living from its fulfilled state, rehearsing it nightly, assuming it as fact, revising past doubts, speaking to yourself with warmth, releasing the how, and persisting without hesitation, you become the conscious architect of your own life. Trust that the inner world you shape with such care will ripple outward, drawing people, circumstances, and synchronicities into alignment. Let each breath remind you that you are not waiting for the world to change. You are already the living proof of its unfolding perfection. Embrace this journey with both wonder and devotion, and watch as your most heartfelt visions graduate from the realm of imagination into the tapestry of your everyday.